Hi, guys. I really wanted to talk about how to get out of debt. And this is the last video in this series. And the reason why is because I've been listening to some financial podcasts lately, and they really get my creative juices going and thinking about what we're all going through in one way or another. So I actually heard that the average American household has over $38,000 in debt. I when I heard that, I was like, wow, then we were above average in a bad way because we had $48,000 of debt. And that was after we actually started to lay down our plan for getting out of debt because before then we had even more. And it was all circumstantial. It was all mostly me and then two car loans on top of it. But it's not like I have like a closet full of expensive bags and like really expensive shoes or anything like that, but we really wanted to tackle it down. And so when I hear statistics like that, I'm like, we got to do something about this. Let's try to help each other. So that's why I came up with this series. So this is the last episode in the series. So I want to talk today about two strategies that you can use to pay off your debt, and which one, by giving you the facts, you can decide as to which one you think will work best for you and your family. So far we've talked about in the going back on a few things that we did, and I am leaving all the links to all the previous videos in the description box down below if you guys missed any of it. So far we talked about how to track your monthly expenses and then how to lower those monthly expenses. Now, when you're looking at the broad spectrum of the spreadsheet that you have from where your money went for an entire month, then that's when you start looking at it and thinking to yourself, like, what categories can I cut back on, right? And we covered this in detail. Um, I talked about how in a previous video, how with just 4 phone calls, I saved my family over $1,200 a year. And I think it took me a little bit less than 2 hours to make those phone calls in one day. So talk about making the most of your time and saving money. Then, of course, if your largest category happens to be food, which I hear a lot from people that leave me comments on Instagram, that a lot of it has to do with either takeout or groceries. And if you're spending too much on groceries, I got you covered. I've tackled how to do a meal plan, how to shop what's in your fridge, freezer, pantry, how to organize your refrigerator in order to make the groceries that you have in there just when you think you don't have enough to make an extra meal. I've given you some ideas as to how to strategize what's in there so that you can make the most of it and stretch those groceries even an extra day or two before you have to go grocery shopping. Jan, who I see here, hi Jan. Her and I have done a few lives both on her channel as well as mine. And we've tackled many ways to save money on groceries, from being frugal with your shopping to how to strategize once you get home, making the most out of each one of those ingredients, and making sure that nothing goes bad in your fridge, because that is like the worst thing when you don't have enough money and then you buy food for your family for the week and then something gets pushed to the back of the fridge, and next thing you know, you're throwing it out. And it's like, you might as well open up your wallet and just throw a 20 in the garbage. That's how bad I know, at least for me, when that happens, I feel terrible because I'm like, I just wasted food and money. It's crazy. So I'm going to leave, and also in my last video, I almost forgot, I talked about how to automate your savings, how to find extra cash so that you can throw it at your debt. So now we're at the point where we're going to be talking about debt itself. So what I suggest for you to do is to make a spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just on a notepad is fine, or a piece of paper that you're just going to keep somewhere, or maybe even pin it up. Honestly, that's what I did, because if I had to stare at it, like people talk about those motivational boards that you can do, mine was the opposite. Mine was like dead in your face. like like if I could look at it every day and throw darts at it and tear off pieces of paper as I could to try to reduce it more and more and more, I was going to do it. I'm like, that debt is going to be gone, gone, gone. When I finally took the last piece and tore it off, I was like, yes. So when you're writing it down, try to think about it in categories, right? So the first category is, who do you owe money to? The next one is like how much is the total amount that's owed. Next is the minimum payment that's due for each debt. And last is the interest rate. Now, we don't really think about interest rate that much. I know that when my credit card debt was pretty high, I would look at minimum payment, payment date, and total due. And that was it. When I started to really try to tackle down the debt and I wanted to come up with a strategy between my husband and I as to how to do it, and I started I had to call up each credit card and be like, what's my interest rate? When I heard that one of my cards I had in New Jersey, like I'm trying to calm down as I say this because I get so mad. In New Jersey, the highest interest rate that they can charge you is 23%. I had a card that was charging me 21% interest. Now, that card was the one that had one of the highest balances on it because it's the one that I really used when things were bad before my husband and I got together. So that was debt that I brought into the relationship. Uh, so when I started looking at the interest rates, I was really surprised. And I'm sure that if some of you who are at this step and you want to start tackling your debt, if you look at the interest rate that you're being charged, I was being charged more for a credit card than I was for my car. Like, and I don't drive like a small car. Like I have an SUV because with 3 kids and my husband and I, we need a little bit of elbow room. So that was actually more of an interest rate than the vehicle I'm driving. Like to me, that was insane. It's insane. So anyway, that's the first thing I suggest for you to do. So then once you're looking at it, there's 2 strategies you can use. So one is called the debt snowball and the other one is called the debt avalanche. Now, some of you might have heard of one and not the other. Dave Ramsey is a financial like guru. Like he has like millions of people that follow him. I have read his books. I have listened to his podcasts. I follow him on YouTube. His daughter, Rachel Cruz, is awesome. She's so inspiring. So they really promote the debt snowball. Now, the debt snowball, the way it works is you list your debt from the smallest amount to the highest amount. So the smallest amount is on top, right? And then it goes like smallest, smaller, smaller until you get to the larger one. When it comes to the debt snowball, they don't want you to think about at all the interest rate. And so the reason why they want you to do it this way is because people are really emotional when it comes to money. Like I don't know how you feel about that, but like the logic of it is that people are really emotionally tied to money. Think about it, right? How many people have you heard, or maybe it was you? At one point, it was me, just once, a really horrible day at work. I almost said the name of the store. Ooh. I went to one of my favorite department stores and I bought a purse that was on clearance and I was paying off debt at that point. I was so close to finishing to pay off debt at that point. And I was like, I had a bad day. It was a horrible day. I thought I was about to walk out of my job. And I bought myself that purse. And I was like, I walked in the next day, even though it was the next horrible day, I had my fancy purse. And I thought, oh, that's great. Yeah, that's retail therapy, right? So, like those words, retail therapy, because people are so emotional about their money and finances in general. Like before, I've shared with you guys when things were really bad and I was living barely paycheck to paycheck, finances were emotional for me because they caused me stress and anxiety, right? So that was my emotional tie with money. Now that, thank God, I am where I am now, I am happy to talk about finances, as you can tell, my own channel. So you are emotionally tied to money one way or another, whether it's negative, whether it's positive. So with the debt snowball, they take that into effect, right? So what they say is if you list your debts from smallest to largest, and what you do is forget about the one on top for a second, right? Look at all the rest. All the rest you're going to pay just the minimum payments on. So it doesn't matter like what you owe on the rest of them. You just pay the minimum payments and you make sure that you pay them as long as you can before or on the due date, because the whole point of paying the minimum payments is that you're not going to be charged any late fees, because then obviously it's taking a step forward to get out of debt and taking a step back when it comes to the late fees, right? And they'll kill you with those things. So you're paying the minimum payments on everything else. then you're taking every cent that you can find, which hopefully I've helped you out by giving you ideas as to how to minimize your expenses and everything else, and lowering your monthly bills as far as like utilities. So every cent you have, you throw it at the one on top, right? Because the whole logic of it is, if you're paying your minimum payments on the rest, and the one on top, you're throwing everything at it. You're throwing the kitchen sink, you're throwing everything at that one. Since it's the smallest debt, most likely that is going to be going by, like you'll be able to pay it off quickly, which is motivating, right? When you see that first one gone, then what do, right? The next month, you pay the minimum payments on the rest, right? Just the minimum payments. And then since you've already paid off that first one, now you have more money because you have the minimum payments still for the rest. But now you have all that money to throw at the one underneath it, right? And you do the same exact thing. You keep paying every cent you can to the one that's now on top, minimum payments on the rest. And then once that one's gone, you do it to the next one. And then once that one's gone, you do it to the next one. So it's like a snowball effect. The positive thing about the snowball method is that it is motivating because you see the progress, right? You see it rather quickly, and hopefully you pay off your debt quick. The debt avalanche is a little bit of the opposite, right? So with the debt avalanche, you are paying you're listing them. I'm sorry, something just popped up on my screen. I thought something happened. You are listing your debt by highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. Now, with the debt avalanche, what can happen is, like it was for us, except for the car loan. So I have to say it wasn't the highest one, but it was a pretty high amount. That was the top one because it had the highest interest rate, that credit card. So I listed it from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate, right? And it's the same concept. You forget about the one on top for a second, and you pay your minimum payments on all the other ones. And then on that one that's on the top that has the highest interest rate, that's the one you're going to throw everything at. Every single cent you can find, anything you could do to get more money, make more money, you throw it at that one. And then once that one's paid, then you do the same thing, right? You make the minimum payments on the rest, and you're going to hit the next one with the second highest interest rate, right? And once you finish that one, then you do next. With the debt avalanche, the thing that I find that's a little bit on the negative side of it is that because you're paying the highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate, is that for me, for example, if I would have listed it by the amount instead of the interest rate, that credit card that with the avalanche, it was the first one, would have been third to the bottom, right? So by hitting it hard, the one with the highest interest rate, you are saving money. That's the positive thing about the avalanche, because you're saving money because you're paying less on interest, right? By tackling the one with the highest interest rate and then going to the one with the next highest interest rate and the lower interest rate, and down, you save money with the avalanche. That's the positive thing, because technically, mathematically, right, you are paying less interest at the end. But with it, if I would have done it the way that with the avalanche, my thing was that the first one on top with the highest interest rate was also one of the highest amounts. So you don't have that motivating aspect that you do with the debt snowball. So that avalanche, technically, you do save money, but since you don't have that motivation, there is statistics that show that if you use the avalanche, you can actually get stressed and think to yourself, I'm never going to finish paying this debt off. And then you stop, right? And then what do? You end up getting into more debt probably. So it all depends on you. Like, one of the things that I've said throughout this series is that not only are we emotionally tied to money, but like we have to know ourselves when it comes to money. Like for me, like when I pay my bills, I don't automate my bills. And I've talked about this before. I have them in a basket that comes in the mail, and I take it out and I look at everything, because I know me, and I know that if everything is online, it's going to be less likely that I'm going to find time to log on to my email to make sure like this bill got paid, this bill got paid. But by looking at the statements, I can really be thorough. I look at everything. I make sure that no bill has jumped up for any reason, and I pay it, right? That's me. If you're the type of person that needs motivation in order to keep going, and you need to see yourself progress kind of quickly, then the snowball is the best one for you. Even though mathematically you're spending more on interest rate, on paying more on interest by using that method. If you're more about saving money and you're the type of person that watches every cent and you want to make sure that the amount of money that you have that goes towards your debt is going to be stretched to the max, then the debt avalanche will probably be best for you. For me, what I can tell you is my husband and I sat down and I was ready to do the debt snowball from the start. I was like, let's do this, let's get this done, let's pay off this debt. And then once I called and got all of the interest rates on everything, and I realized that that one credit card that was pretty high had the highest interest rate on there, I was like, yeah, I can't do that. I can't tackle something that's $200 that has like 3 or 4% interest. When I've got this one that's double digits, like almost to the maximum in New Jersey, I believe it was 21%, I'm going to say. That on interest, because what's the point in that? It would again feel like I'm taking one step forward to take one step back. And you really want to stay motivated and you want to keep going. So mathematically, I was like, I can't do that. I can't take that debt and put it at the bottom and start throwing money at like the smallest debt first. Like I couldn't do it. So we flipped it. We did a snowball avalanche. So what we did was we paid off, and it took us a while. It took us a while to pay that off. It was months and months and months. And I kept thinking to myself every time I made like the payments, I was like, did I do the right thing? Should I put that debt on the bottom so we can be more motivated? But once that one with the highest interest rate, that credit card, I'm so mad about it. Once that credit card was paid off, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then we had so much money to throw at everything else. So the rest of the debt, we did use a snowball because we wanted to continue to be motivated like we were with that first credit card once that got paid off. And we spent so much time on it. And my husband was like, honey, we could do it. Like we could do it. Like you're making progress. Look at the amount. Look at the amount. And finally, when I made that last payment on that one, I was like, all right, we tackled like 2 in a row because that's how much money we were putting at the first one because of that interest rate. Because I'm like, I'm not going to feel like I'm walking backwards. You know, you want to walk forwards when it comes to money, especially when it's you work so hard for what you have and you want to make sure that you stretch it as much as possible. So for us, that was what we used. And they've said that there are statistics that show that the snowball is actually better. I don't want to say that it's better, but for us, once we tackled that big one, then the snowball was fantastic for us. I really felt like we were so motivated and excited about money. But if you are either not, it took me a while to figure out like the interest rate on that credit card, how much I was throwing at it and how long it was going to take us to get out of it. Because I thought if I had an end date on that card, it was really going to help me get even more motivated to pay it off. So I found out that if you go to Google and you can Google the words debt snowball calculator, and because you'll have that list of all the debts that you have, you can just plug in your numbers and you don't have to give them a name, password, or anything like that. They don't keep your information. It's just an online calculator. So if you go to debt snowball calculator and put in your numbers, it'll show you really I think it's the first one that's on the website. It'll actually show you a diagram that shows you like how long it'll take you based upon how much money you're saying you're going to throw at that one on the top. The same thing for the debt avalanche calculator. If you Google that, that's what I used to figure out how long it was going to take me to be able to pay off that first one. And then once we paid off that first one, I was like, okay, now we're going to flip it, because I didn't want to see then how long it was going to take me with the debt snowball, because I wanted to really be surprised. And we really got motivated. We started selling things. Like we started my husband was working overtime. I had a little bit of overtime as well. So we really wanted to see how fast we can pay it off. But that first one, to figure out which step was best for us, the calculator was really easy to use. It wasn't complicated at all. So those are the 2 strategies. And let me know in the comment section down below and in the comments here if you guys have used either one, and which one do you think, based upon your personality, like you would want to use. And if you have any other suggestions for me as far as like my next video topic, either saving money or saving time, let me know in the comment section or in the chat as well. So I'm going to go to the chat now. I have all these comments that are popping up. Hi, Granny Pepper. How are you? She was happy to be the first one on here. Hi, Jan. Let me see. Oh, Rochelle's on here. I want to tell you guys. I don't know if you missed one of my last video I dropped yesterday, but it's like yesterday was my 2-year YouTube anniversary, and I was so excited because it took me a while to really be able to get motivated to get started with with my channel. And I had to give these ladies a shout out, both Jan and Rochelle, because their channels are amazing. And I'm going to link them down below. If you guys haven't seen them, please go check them out. Rochelle's Addison's Budgets. She does a great budget channel. And then Jan from New York City Saves Money. She's all about frugality and helping you save money in the grocery store with your food, everything. She comes up with such great ideas. Oh, Wanda's here. Hi, Wanda. Let's see. Oh, Avery Home Search. I'll give her a shout out as well. She has such great DIYs and room makeovers. I still can't get over her bedroom room makeover. I'm like, oh my gosh. Let me see. Oh, Michigan ladies here too. Hi. Let's see. Hi, Eileen Lester. I was thinking of you the other day. Oh my gosh. I have such great subscribers and people that show up here. Honestly, I feel so blessed. Aw, here's Eileen. She says, happy 2-year anniversary. Thank you, Eileen. You're so sweet. Oh my goodness. Oh, Jan agrees about the way we handled our debt. Thank you. It was just when it came to the numbers and that huge credit card, I just really felt like it was like a weight on my shoulders. I'm like, no, I have to somehow get rid of this. I really do. And it took us so long. It took us so long to get rid of it. And then once we did, I was like, it was so motivating. I was like, I can breathe. I can breathe. I'm like, let's tackle the rest. It was so exciting. Oh, everyone's wishing me a happy 2-year anniversary. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so I'm so glad I started my channel, honestly. Like it wasn't it didn't come easy to me at first because you know I'm not like an extrovert. Now I am, I guess, but it was it took me a little bit, but I'm so glad I did it, honestly, between the amazing women that I've met here and the amazing channels I've connected with and wonderful subscribers like Eileen. Like this is all worth it, honestly. And I'm getting such great comments on Instagram and also on YouTube telling me that they're really into this savings challenge that I'm doing this year, which is to save as much as you can each week on groceries. And so with my grocery haul, I'm going to be giving you a total throughout the year of how much I'm saving. And I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that I can hit, I'm hoping a few $100s by the end of the year. If I can get that, oh my gosh, that'd be so great. I don't want to say 1,000 because I know that's not going to probably happen, but I want to be positive. You know, if I can save a few $100s on groceries at the end and then still feed my family healthy meals under budget, like how great is that? It's really great. I can cushion some of those savings accounts. Oh, here's Steve Young Pine. Okay. My live was kind of glitchy a few weeks ago and I felt so bad because I was raving about Steve and I'm like, you guys have to go check him out. He really knows his stuff when it comes to credit cards. And I think that's the topic here. I currently have a credit card with $2,000 at 5.99 and I am making triple the minimum. Good job to pay it off. I also have one at 0% until October to pay it off. You know, Steve, those 0% cards, I work with people, and again, like I'm not trying to be judgmental. I work with people that make like 3 times the amount of money that I make, 4 times the amount of money that I make. And when I hear them talking about, you know, they have the cash, but instead they're going to get a 0% on this and a 0% on that. Like, especially because I love talking about finances, like it actually like there's a part of me, like the little inner part that's like, say something. And then the other part's like, no, it's none of my business. Like, I'm not going to say something, but I don't know how you guys feel about those 0%, but especially like on something, if you have the cash for it, like if you have the cash for it, what's the point? Right? Anyway, but Steve, I mean, paying the triple the minimum, you're going to pay that thing off in no time. And 5.99%, could you imagine it being 21%? I still get heated. With that card. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Do you guys have any questions for me before I go? Well, I've been getting such great comments and questions both on YouTube as well as on my Instagram page, which my handle is How Debbie Saves. And I'd love to hear from you if you have any questions or any topics that you want me to cover in future videos. I'd be happy to. So I think everyone is done here. Thank you guys so much for coming, for coming on the chat and for watching me on playback. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Honestly, all the love and support that I get. And just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. And again, any topic you want me to cover, just let me know. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, one more thing. Wanda says some credit cards charge an annual fee too. Yes. Well, before I go, I I talked about this a few weeks ago. I got a credit card. I have credit cards that I still have that I use, but I pay them up at the end of the month so I don't get charged anything. And I rack benefits, which again, I'll cover in another topic. I seem like every time I say that, I always have someone that says like, yeah, but you said you're consumer debt free. Well, I am because I pay it off at the end of the month and it's things that I've budgeted for. It's not anything extravagant. I'm not going shopping or anything. But if I put my groceries on a credit card that's going to give me 2% back on groceries and I paid off at the end of the month, I don't pay them a cent on interest, then why not, right? I'm benefiting from that and it's something I've budgeted for. So I've counted on every cent. But what happened to me a few months ago, and I included it in that video that I did a few weeks ago, is I was going through my statements again because I put it in that box. I know it sounds old fashioned, but because I put it in the box. So as I'm going through the statements, I see that they're telling me that I have a $50 annual fee that gets charged. Actually, I think it was 55. I was like, no, I don't. And I called them up, and I'm always super nice when I call them up, even if I'm upset. Like it's not that rep's fault about what happened. And I explained to her, I'm like, I know I've never had this fee before, but let's say that I have. Like, can you do anything for me? And all she did is she went on the system and she changed the type of card that I had from one type of card to the other with the same exact benefits on it. And then she gave me back the fee. I'm like, that's why you have to check everything. You really, really do. But yeah, an annual fee. Yeah. Try to see if you can negotiate with them. If that's you, if that's not just a statement that you're saying, but you're actually getting charged that, call them up. It's so worth it. It really is worth it. Jan, her and I, we share a brain when it comes to finances. She does the basket thing too. What is it, right? You just get it, you put it in the basket and it's organized. And whenever we get paid, I open them up and I pay my bills. And that way nothing is missed too, because I'm not getting hit with any late fees or anything like that by having it organized and being able to, pay my bills that way. But yes, not basket all the way. Basket girls. Eileen says, P.S. I'm not old fashioned too. Oh, I'm old fashioned too. Yes. I'm like, why automate everything? Like that to me is so scary too. Like what happens if you need an extra day or two to pay a bill, even though you're still in the window of when it's due, right? Like automating it? No, I'm okay. And then you don't know exactly how much you paid the month before because it's automatically in your email. And if you don't check it, then you don't have a bill that you can negotiate and try to get down even lower. I save money with that basket. I know it sounds old fashioned, but I really do. Let me see. Granny Prepper says, yes, I have a card and I do that with too. Yes, absolutely. Oh, Wanda, I didn't know that. See, I love learning from you guys as well. Some charge a second authorized use also. I never heard of that. I never heard of that. I'm like, wow. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know personally if you can negotiate that or not. Like that's something to look into, People always hesitate to try to call up providers and try to lower their bills or lower the fees, but why not? Like by being nice to them, they're going to extend themselves to you, and rather do that and try to negotiate bills down than stretch your money further and then not be able to put anything towards your debt or towards your savings. Just give them a call. They really I see that utility companies are so eager to help you and keep you too, because there are competitors out there. There really are competitors out there that are willing to give you more for less if you're willing to switch to a company. Let me see. Yes, Eileen, I agree with you. Some bills don't allow you to do paper. But you know, when you're paying something online and it says to you like, oh, $5 off your next bill, like if you go paperless, I'm always the one that's like, no thanks. I'm like, I would love those $5, but no thanks. Let me see. Oh, hi, Kate. Aw, she's glad she caught us. Oh, that's so nice, Kate. Jan from New York City Saves Money is going to do a live, I believe 2 weeks from now, from the Saturday, if I'm right, and it's going to have both Kate and I on it. I'm so excited. I can't wait to do a live with you. Oh my goodness. All right, well, I guess we've covered everything here. You guys had me go over what I planned, but I love it. I love being able to go off script and just talk to you, which is the whole point of a live, to interact with you as well, right? Well, guys, thank you guys so much for coming and also for watching me on replay. And if you have any questions or comments, please reach out. And I'd love to tackle any topic that you guys have. So thanks. Oh my goodness. One more is popping up. No. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Bye, guys.